So it's good to see you. Good to see everyone. We usually like to start on time. Everyone who comes late will find us along the way. So I'll do the preliminaries, which are the easier parts. Then I'll hand over to the technical people.
Really, no.
Oh, God.
But you're welcome, everyone. Today we'll start differently. Today I'll start with a prayer.
Oh, thank God.
Father, thank you that you are a good God. We thank you for wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Thank you that you expect us to grow in these things, that we might impact the people around us much better and help them to also grow in the different areas of their lives. We thank you that this will be a time that is worth having. We thank you for everyone that is supposed to be here because they will be here. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Welcome everyone. I've set a challenge for Dina. Dina should find a way to start next week when she's the one, if she's the one leading. But it's good to have every one of us here. We will start off today. Today we are going to talk about how to have difficult conversations. And this is a daily occurrence. There are things that sometimes you have to tackle, but you do not know how. You want to how you should tackle them. Either you're afraid of bruising someone's ego, or you are afraid someone will misunderstand you, or you are afraid you will lose a partnership or a colleague at work, or you are afraid you will be fired from work. These are all possibilities that can happen if we do not know how to handle having tough conversations. It is the failure tough conversations that sees people who were once close and very tight, and now they block each other. Not only can they not call each other, but they blocked and even erased each other's phone. The most dramatic ones even buy new phones completely. But it's good. It's good that we are all here to know how to handle, because knowing on the other side, knowing how to handle this is what can turn people that were against you to actually be for you. It's what can turn people to be on your team, and you can all steer in the same direction. So today, to set us off, is Coach Jennifer. Last Tuesday we missed her wisdom because she wanted to give a lot of time to Q&A. So today we decided we will start with her wisdom. She will not keep her notes to herself. So Coach Jennifer, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Jose. Keeping my notes to myself. No, let me tell you guys. When I had so much, I look at you, I'm like, hey God, I prepared 3 times. Even at 2 a.m., that as when I was revising, it was a third revision at 2 a.m. And then I woke up and they were like, you're not sharing. So I didn't. It wasn't intentional. Anyway, welcome everyone. I'm very excited to see you here. For me, as long as someone appears, actually, even if it's just the three of us, it is all right. But thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for honoring us during this. Dina, you want to say something? Okay. Thank you for honoring us during this lunchtime. We don't take it for granted. It's lunchtime, so let's dive right into it. So this topic of tough conversations, I actually have a video that I recorded on my YouTube about it when I was just starting out doing videos. The quality is not very good, but the content is actually good. I think it's something that everyone who is a leader is going to face. It's something that everyone life, as long as you're an adult, actually, as long as you are alive, you're going to have tough conversations. As in, even you're going to have tough conversations with a 2-year-old, you're going to have tough conversations with a 6-month-old, as in, you're going to have tough conversations with everyone. So it's something that is a part, it's a normal part of life. I think the thing that maybe I asked myself as I was getting into this, and every time this question comes up, is why it is that we ask, it's a common question, how can I have tough conversations? What makes it hard? What is there that makes us feel like it's hard? We can have conversations, but when it comes to tough conversations, what is actually going on? So I'm going to talk about are they 4 points? There are 4 points, and they're actually just 4 points. So the first thing about having tough conversations, the first step about having tough conversations is for you to actually have conversations. Because you notice most people are not asking, how do I have conversations? That seems like it's actually straightforward. Why am I hearing? I'm hearing feedback from someone. Lawrence? Lawrence, please mute. Thank you very much. So the first thing about having tough conversations is making sure that you're having conversations. Now that might seem straightforward, but the thing is, at times when you're in a place of leadership or when there are people who you might end up having a tough conversation with and you haven't had conversations with them, that is what makes you go online. That's one of the basic things that makes you go online and start asking, how do I have the tough conversations? Because you are not having conversations. And I'm not talking about conversations of report assignment. No, have normal conversations with your people. I'm going to give two examples here. I have a former workmate who left the country and went to she's not expatriate, but she went to work in a different country. And she was actually reported to HR because she doesn't check in. When people come back from what happens, the way that country works, the way that they function is when people come back from the weekend, before you start doing work things, it is expected for you to find out how they are, how their cat is, how their dog is, how was the weekend. You're expected to have those conversations with them. It is an expectation to have those conversations before you start work. Now for her, she'll just say hi, start work, and then continue as in start the work thing. She was reported to HR for being antisocial. HR had a conversation with her, as in it was that serious. So having normal conversations are not work related, human conversations with people. Make it a normal part of life at your workplace. The second example is I'm in a mentorship and we were having like the live session, not the live, the in-person meeting that we usually had. And there was a lady who was seated in the room where we were. She was carrying a baby. And I was talking to one of the other, she was a coach, another coach in the mentorship. And I look, I'm like, do you know her? She's like, no. Have you talked to her? She's like, no. So I'm like, who do you think she is? And she thought she was someone who had come to take care of the baby. So she had actually ignored her because she was like, she sat there, she was carrying a baby. So I walked up to her and I was like, hello, how are you? And we just started having a chat. Turns out she's a relationship coach, a relationship and dating coach. she had come, yes. She helps women to date, my dear. She helps women to date. Yeah. So I just sat down, had a conversation with her, and one of my clients actually had an assignment to start dating by a certain date. Yeah. So that conversation, I linked up with her. She's now, as I'm coaching my client on serious purpose things, she's coaching my client on dating in this Uganda. Yeah. So look at this. Hey, they are dating coaches. They're even dating coaches for rich single ladies. People, don't joke. They are in this Uganda. So normalize having conversations with people. The people who are in your workplace, who you might end up having a tough conversation with, reach out to them. Just if you see someone seated, the quiet one doesn't talk, just sit down and have a normal conversation about the weather, about the color, about their weekend, so that you know them a little bit more. And when it's time for you to have a tough conversation, there is a foundation. It's not like the first time you have a conversation with them, it's because something has gone wrong. So that is step one. Have conversations with your people and make it a habit. Step two is gain perspective. So you're going to have that tough conversation. Something has happened. Gain perspective. The person has been, maybe they've been coming late, they've been dropping the ball, something has been happening. This is what we're going to have the conversation with. A project failed, they failed to deliver whatever it is, and they've been doing it repeatedly. Before jumping on them, take a step back and have a broader picture, what might be going on before you actually have the conversation. And the example that I want to give is, is of one of my siblings. So you know this thing of, we have people who are like, I don't know what they call them. I can't use that, what my mom used to use. There's a traditional word that she would use. But other people who tend to break a lot of stuff, what do they call them? I don't know. But it's like, she was in the kitchen, you'd hear a glass break, you'd hear a plate break, you'd hear stuff break. And what she would do, this was so amazing. She was young, actually quite young. So when something would drop and you hear, it has broken, And you're like, what's that? She tells you, don't worry, I'm okay. I'm okay. Don't worry, I'm not hurt. I'm not hurt. So it's like she kind of rerouted the conversation. So you did not even have the energy to say, how could you? You've broken. No, no, no. It is, I am not hurt. Please, I'm okay. Don't worry about that. So she redirected your perspective. So now you'd first check, okay, thank God you're not hurt. Okay, it's just a glass that broke. Okay, this time it's just a cup that broke. So what I'm trying to drive home is have a broader perspective. What is important here? So they have been coming late. What else might be going on? What might be the bigger picture? What's important here? What might be going on with them? How is their work? What else could be affecting this? So that by the time you're having a tough conversation, you're not just going in attack mode. You're not just going at this one thing. You're going at it with a wider view, with a wider view. So that's the second step. Have, not have, gain perspective. The third is it's a communication thing. So I was thinking about what it is that I can share about people. Because there are so many different things, there are different types of people. Because this is about people who think differently from you. There are the people who, as in the different types of learners, the different types of those kind of stuff. But I want to talk about communication, the two different types of communication. So there is implied, the people who are implied communicators, and there are people who are literal communicators. In our country, in Uganda, there is a whole tribe, as in 7 tribes. There are these people who will tell you there's something they say, Jango tulie, come and we eat. It's a common thing of the people from Central. They are being polite. They're just acknowledging your presence. But if you tell someone from my side, I'm a Luo, Jango tulie, they will come. They will come and eat. Actually, for the people from Central, especially the Baganda, it's like when they're eating and you come in, it's like a polite thing. It's almost like a greeting, I'm eating, but I've acknowledged you. For us in our culture, when someone is eating, you don't talk to them. You don't even greet, as in that's how serious it is. You don't even greet. So we have people who, what they say is not what they mean. They say one thing, but they mean another thing. And when you say something to them, they understand different things. Those are the implied communicators. They don't go direct. Then we have the people who are the literal communicators. The ones who, when they say the dog is black, they mean the dog is black. The report needs to come at this time. That is what they mean. When they say come and eat, they mean come and eat. So this is why it will help you to have conversations with people, because then you will understand what type of communicators they are. I think the person who actually taught us about this, my coach trainer, it was 2021, he said this understanding this is what actually saved his marriage. Because you'd find that him and his wife are having an argument. He's saying one thing, and then the person leaves, the person blows up. Because you said something, for you're literal, you are telling them something. But it's like for them you said I was stupid, or you said I didn't care. But it is not what I said. What I was talking about the work, I was talking about the shopping. For you said, so it's you need to understand how does the person read what it is that I'm saying. For some people, when you call them and tell them the quality of the work this time might not have been the work might not have made the quality that we agreed on. For them, they are hearing I am a bad worker or I'm a poor performer. You were talking about the work product. Then they had I'm a poor performer. They live there. That chick abused me. I said, how can she say that my performance is bad? You talked about the work product, but they had something else. So you need to understand what type of person are you communicating to. Are you communicating to the person who, when she says come and eat, she's just greeting you? It is implied. It's not literal. Or the person who, when they say come and eat, it is literal. Please come and eat. And if you don't come, they'll be offended. And when you understand that, then you will know how to talk to them, how to kind of frame the message, frame this tough conversation as you're having the conversation with them. So that's I think the third thing. Understand what type of communicator you're talking to. Is the person literal or is the person an implied communicator? And I think the last one, I've talked so much, Jose, you've given me so much time. The last one is get a blue tick. I've used blue tick because we all know that. You send someone a message, they blue ticked you, but they did not respond. Who do they think they are? So get a blue tick of whatever it is that you're saying. What this means is get Get them to tell you what it is that, whether they've understood. You say to get understanding. So we're talking about the work product. This is what I said. I'd like to understand what is it that you've had me say, so that you get them to tell you what is it that they had. Because at times you say one thing and they have totally gone the other direction. I think Dina talked about this in another webinar, in I think in part 2. It's very, very important when you're having tough conversations to make sure that what you're trying to communicate is what is being heard. What you're trying to say is what is being understood. So have that conversation. You've had that conversation. What is it that you've had me say? Let them say it back, and then you can correct whatever it is that they've misunderstood. And as you're closing, make sure, as in you have your ways forward. It's not just a tough conversation. Tell the person off. Have your ways forward. Have how you, whatever it is that you're going to agree on, have your ways forward, and all that, so that you close off the conversation with the clear action points. It's not just to tell the person off and then it's like everyone is left hanging. Close it off and wrap it up well. So I think that is all that I have to share. Thank you for giving me so much time, Jose. I feel like I've spoken for 20 minutes.
Thank you very much. Can we all appreciate Coach Jennifer? Thank you so much for sharing with us. Just think of when you said for some people, when you say Django Tulia, they actually show up. There used to be a story of a guy who every time they would say Django Tulia, the guy would actually show up. Django Tulia, the guy would also show up. So at some point they would say, I'm going to Tukulengede Kajambo. They never said Django Tulia again. But it's indeed important to understand who it is that you are talking to, because it makes a whole difference how they process information, so that they get the information and they don't leave feeling angry or feeling insulted. Thank you very much, Coach Jennifer. We'll hear from Dina. For those who joined us, I presume you read the email. We're talking about how to handle tough conversations, because this is something you will find at work, at home, among friends, and how you handle it determines whether there is a split forever or people actually work together from that point onwards. So we'll hear from Dina probably 10 minutes. It was my fault. I didn't give you time, Coach Jennifer. So you were, it was my fault. But now it's dinner 10 minutes, and then I'll come through, and then we'll have. Meanwhile, if you have questions, is something we have talked about, something that hasn't been mentioned but is bothering you, please feel free to put it in the chat already. We want to make sure in this session, the third session, we want to make sure we address the real things. We have things that we want you to share with you, things we want to share with you, but we also want to know what exactly it is that you want to know about a particular topic, or about an experience, and if you want us to speak into it. So please begin to put those things in the chat and we'll have time for them. Dina, over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Jose. Thank you so much, Coach Jennifer. You were in spirit. Wow. 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 By the way, you guys, I didn't get to speak to you earlier, but as I usually tell those who have been here with us before, when you hear that Coach Jennifer is going to speak, I mean, she's also the only one here who has a title before her name, Coach Jennifer. You get a book and then you get a pen, because she issues a whole masterclass in 10 minutes, as you just witnessed. So thank you so much. I think I will speak for the quiet ones like myself, those quiet bottlers, those who keep things inside there, and then they stay in there until you can't take it anymore, and it eventually turns into either an outburst, or you distance yourself, or you lose what could have been a thriving relationship or partnership or all of that. My key takeaway from Coach Jennifer's submission was the first thing that she said. I think why we find it so hard to speak is because we never really have conversations. So when it's time to have the actual conversation, you don't know where to start it. That one I have noted. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for making time for this. Thank you so much. We're still here. This is the second webinar in part 3. That means we still have 3 more. We hope that you stay with us. We hope to see you again next week on Tuesday. I'm saying all of that because who knows, I may not speak again. But anyway, as I get into my sharing, one of the things I really that came to me when I was thinking about this webinar is something Coach Jennifer has already touched. You cannot speak to everyone the same way and expect the same result. You can't, because people hear words differently. People hear words differently, I can assure you. And if you've been paying attention, maybe there's a scenario that has come to your mind before. So let me give you a quick scenario. Back then in school, we used to have, we used to call it projector, like when there's entertainment, and first we used to say there's proje. So the dormitory area was a bit far from the terrace. We used to have, the projector used to happen outdoors. So the dormitory area was so far from where the outdoors terrace is, where the projector happens. So someone would be at the terrace and says, I think there might be project. By the time you would reach the dormitory, people are carrying their mats to the terrace because the person who reached the dormitory said there is project. You get the idea? Like the transfer of information, the communication, the language, and things just change completely. Someone started by saying, I think there may be. By the time you're that side, people have concluded there is because you don't know what they had. And that's why it's important that when you're going to have this conversation, get to understand the, because we are talking about having conversation, these hard conversations with people of different types, different people types. Get to understand who is the person that you're going to have this conversation with. Again, I will tell you about like 4 people. There is this person who is they are direct, and results oriented. If you have something to say to me, say it. Be brief, be clear. There are those people. Maybe those are the ones Coach Jennifer was saying. They're literal, like, okay, not necessarily, but okay. They're direct. What you want to say to me, say it to me. If I did something to you, say it and be clear. Then there are just those people who are, they're sensitive. You're not so sure how they're going to react. You're not so sure if, and they need you to give them like some sort of reassurance that even when we have this conversation, the relationship is still intact. It's not going to change how we view each other as colleagues or as, partners or as, we just need to iron this out and we'll be on a clean slate. Then there are those people who are just so analytical. They will dissect and think through everything, and you have to kind of watch the language and also make sure that they have really understood what it is you are saying, have them repeat it back to you because in their analysis, they could have dissected things the wrong way. That what you're telling them is not what they have heard. You had the example Coach Jennifer said. You're trying to let someone know maybe there's improvement to be done, and they have analyzed and concluded that you've said they are a bad worker. You get. And then there are just those people who are, yeah, they are quiet, but also they're easygoing, they're peacemakers. All they need you to do is, have this language which is gentle. They're okay, like, what's wrong? How can we be on the clean slate and we be bad days again? So it's important for you to know the kind of person you're going to have this conversation with. And then the second thing I would like to talk about is lead with respect. It doesn't matter what has happened. It doesn't matter the poor performance. It doesn't matter the expectation. Go with respect because respect is what will change the mood. When you respect a person, even if it's uncomfortable, even if they've done something wrong, when you respect them, it kind of shatters their defenses. It opens them up to real conversation. It sets the stage for you to have some real conversation with them. But if you come out, because at the end of the day, they are still a human being, and they're still a human being that carries a certain kind of value with which they see themselves. So even when you know that maybe they are on the other side of what's right, treat them with respect. And I think the bonus for me is focus on what the issue is and not the other person. You get? Like, it will give you language. I'm talking about language now. You know, when you approach a person with the whole thing of you did this, you are like this, you are, you're painting it like there's everything wrong with them. You have to, I think they call them like I statements, the way that you phrase what it is you're trying to say. Maybe I can't get some examples of it, but like, you know what they said about it's really language. Let me put it that way. The language that you go with, you're trying to put across either a situation or a way of working or a way of doing things that could have caused you to feel a certain way. And that's what you should point out. Your focus should not be on pointing out the weaknesses, like bringing out the other person as though they are weak at this, they are just totally getting it wrong and what. So use those I statements. Like, I would like to express ABCD or to bring bring this to your notice and all of that instead of you are like this. You rub me the wrong way you are. I know we've been told about confidence and speaking up and all of that. But at the end of the day, you are communicating with a human being. So for me, the things that I would really say about having these hard conversations, know the kind of person you are talking with, lead with respect, and also the language. Focus on the issue. Focus on the issue. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jose. I don't know if I used 10 minutes or more, but thank you for giving me the
No, you did well.
opportunity.
You did well. Thank you. Thank you. Let's appreciate dinner. I think for me, one of the biggest things was know the person, know the kind of person that you were talking to. Like we rightly put it, this in this segment, season 3, if you like, series 6, season 3. But in this season, we are really talking about how to work with people that are different from us. And Dina was mentioning when you're having tough conversations, is this the person who you say something and they feel hurt immediately? Is it someone who is happy-go-lucky? Okay, I'll work on it. Then you go. Is it someone that, you talk and it's like water on a duck's back? And then the next day they are back to it. So I think it's really, really, really important. I think I can't overemphasize that. Really know who you are talking to, because that determines the approach and determines the results that come after that. It's never one size fits all. It's never, because people come in different shapes, different mental spaces and all these things. So it's never one size fits all. So in all that we are saying today, please keep it at the back of your mind that I need to know who I am talking to, and then I can tailor what I am learning to that person to get the desired results. So again, thank you for joining us. I will share also briefly having how to have tough conversations. By the time we even call them tough, I think that's why it scares some people, the fact that we brand them tough conversations. They are conversations, really. They are conversations. It's just the badge that we give to them that makes us shiver whenever we think of. But if you look at them as conversations, then it disarms, it takes away the fear, it takes away it's having another conversation with someone. And I think for me, just removing that badge already makes it easier. It gives it a softer landing. It takes away the tension that I would come with. It takes away that tension. And so just knowing I'm going to have another conversation with this person, for me, that is very key. But also we are saying in this season, like the others, but we are really tackling things that happen in our day-to-day lives. And that's why it's really important that we have these conversations. I think I will say a few things. Both the trouble going last is they speak your answers, so you are scratching from. But anyway, I have a couple of things to say in this regard. For me, number one is make sure it is the right setting. I cannot overemphasize this. Make sure it's the right setting. You can, someone can make a mistake, and because the previously you have been having one-on-ones with this person, catching up with them, when they make a mistake, their expectation is that you will come to them and just talk to them. But if they make a mistake, you throw them before a panel, to iron that mistake. It will be, you won't get immediately they'll put their defenses up. You can come to have a conversation, and the way the setting immediately causes someone to put their defenses up. Either you have called them into your office, immediately they come trembling. If you're the leader, if you're the manager, immediately they come trembling. They are unsure. Their defense modes are up, so they will reply to defend themselves, not to find a solution or to solve. It will just be about defense. So finding the right place to have these conversations is really, really, really key. Finding the place and the time as well to have them. Like we said, people are different. For some people, you need to hit the nail on when it's still hot, and that's how they have their conversations, and that's easy. Excuse me. Thank you for jumping in. I just had an irritation, but thank you. Anyway, like I say, make sure that it's the right time and the right place. For some people, you need to give them some time to cool off. Then you can come and have the conversation when they're ready. So make sure it's the right place, the right time to have the conversation. But also, I think the way you approach something is quite important. If I come to you thinking I'm going to have this conversation, this tough conversation with you, I will come in a semi-combative mode. But if my mindset is we are going to find a solution for this thing, I come with a different mode. So if we sit down and we are going to have a conversation, if we sit down, my mentality is, my discussion is, let's find a solution for this thing. Let's find a solution. So we are working, what we want to see from this conversation. We want this work to improve. So for me, I'm pointing to the end. So immediately I'm not putting the spotlight on you, I'm putting the spotlight on the work that I want us to achieve, whatever it is that I want us to achieve. Then we can work backwards from there. We can work backwards. If I call you, I say, this month, this was the target. We still have a couple of days to go. We haven't met the target. This is the target we have to meet. How do we bridge the gap from here to there? Are you facing trouble? Do you need help? That way, I'm taking the spotlight off you, and now you become a participant in finding the solution. It's no longer an argument. It's no longer a debate. We are now working together toward the solution. So I've taken the spotlight off you, and you're no longer ready to combat. You're now ready to work together towards finding a solution. So for me, it's really key. And by the time you walk away, you realize, actually, this guy dealt with this trouble without pointing at me. It leaves you with that thing of, you also live solution oriented. You don't live feeling small, feeling belittled, feeling terrible. No, you live feeling, we worked towards something. I was at fault, but we have worked towards something. Maybe I need to improve or pick up on something. You begin to speak to yourself because of the solution that you got to. So I usually come to these conversations with a solution, a goal, an end goal, and I put the end goal there. Then we work backwards. So you don't feel I'm pointing at you, and and then also I think what else has not been said. What is it? I'll just give an example. Sometimes you are the leader, yes, but there's someone senior that you want to speak to have this conversation with. Or it is your father that you want to have this tough conversation with. It is, you're in a place of leadership or you're not, but you want to have this tough conversation with someone senior to you. Again, for me, the thing is coming with a solution. If there's a problem, I have realized in management, I won't come and say, guys, I have realized this problem. No, I'll say, guys, this is a solution I think can work. Why? Because I've seen we have a gap here and gap here. If we plug here, if we plug here, I think we can get to here. So that way, for me, the conversation is toward the goal. And some people realize, oh, we have been slacking here, we have been slacking, we didn't handle here. We can now mention those things along the way. But when we mention them, it's no longer about attacking, it's about getting to where we want to go. So for me, that's very key. If I'm having a tough conversation with someone that is more senior, I don't come to present the problem, I come with a solution. And while we are walking towards the solution, we can now tackle the problem toward the solution. That makes a big difference. It disarms people. It really disarms people. Because already when you come to someone, they know they are in fault. They know there is a problem. When you're having a tough conversation, they know there is a problem. I think one of the scariest things for husbands is when the wife says we need to talk. The wife now begins thinking, the husband's now, what did I do? What? Through the day, it is a torment. What did I do? What did I? But I think just if she called and said, hey, I think I've thought of something that I know will help us in the next month. Already you are excited. What are they going to talk about? So it's a completely different mindset. So the way you introduce the topic is really different. For me, it's always result oriented. Whether it is someone more senior or someone at it is always focusing on the result. And as we work to the result, we will talk about the shortcomings. But this time you realize the shortcomings are toward that goal, and you'll know, okay, I have to work on this. I have to work on this. I have to improve there. You see for yourself where the gaps are, and the way you talk to yourself. We had a Nigerian friend who would say, advise yourself. So you advise yourself, really, during the course of the conversation. And we live all happy with the goal that we have achieved. We know where we are all going. For me, that always diffuses these conversations. It makes them less combative. It makes them actually more solution oriented, because I come with the mindset of, I don't want us to just have a tough conversation. I want us to get to a solution. I'm not coming to this conversation to give you a piece of my mind, to show you, I'm coming to this conversation for us to achieve something. I'm not coming because I'm fed up. I've carried this thing for long enough. You did it the other time. I'm not coming with that mode. I'm coming for us to achieve. For me, it's important. What is important is not me giving you a piece of my mind. What is important is for us finding a solution. So I come with the solution in mind, and then we work backwards. While we are working backwards, we then now begin to talk about the shortcomings, the things that did not go well, and that leaves everyone with a smile. I think I have said enough about that. There's a lot I would have said, but I see we're running out of time, and I would want us to just have those questions and those comments. So please have those questions coming, have those comments coming. But like Dina said, diction is very important. The words that you choose are very important, very, very important. But equally important is the tone. The tone that you use is very important, because you can say the right thing in the wrong way. You can say the right thing and someone's defenses immediately go up. So the diction is important. The tone is important. The setting is important. The timing is important, not just for the other person, for you yourself. Make sure you're in the right space to have that conversation. Because you might come to that conversation and you're also not in the right place, and it's just fireworks all over. It's just fireworks all over the place. So make sure you yourself, you are in the right space mentally to have that conversation, that you're not coming, the conversation is not fueled with anger, it's not fueled with animosity, it's not fueled with disgust, it's not fueled, but rather it is fueled from a place of, let's work this out, let's come to a good conclusion. So you yourself, don't always point the finger at the other side. You yourself, make sure you're in the right space to have that conversation. So set the right tone, set the right diction, set the right atmosphere, be in the right place, and also be result oriented. For me, those are key things that would be helpful in having conversations, whether it's someone below you or different. But always keep in mind what Dina shared earlier. It's not one size fits all. See how to employ these things to the person that you are talking to. Like I said, we'll talk so much. Maybe we will at the end if there are no questions. But we would want to hear from you. Would want to hear from you as well. What do you find it? Why do you find it hard having these conversations? What have you taken away that will be helpful for you to employ? Because want you to go with things that you can actually begin to employ, because these are conversations that some of you are going to have this week or even after this meeting. So what is it that you have taken away that you can immediately employ? Or what is it that we haven't mentioned that you really feel you need to hear about? This Q&A, the next couple of minutes, maybe 10 or so minutes, will be handled by Coach Jennifer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jose. That was interesting. The husband thing of we need to talk. I don't know why that's such a trigger for me. We need to talk. Whew. And all hell breaks loose. Anyway, so I have been telling you guys to put, I'm not seeing anything in the chat. So if you have something to say, I'm first going to go with, you can put up your hand. If you have a question, you have a comment, you have an addition, you have a remark that you want to make, you can put up your hand and I'll call you out. If not, then I'll begin to ask people what you have to say, because I know that there's something. You've been listening for how many minutes? It's 44 minutes? For 44 minutes. Something must have, or an aha moment must have happened. There must be a question. Let me see what Vanessa has said. Oh, she has written a whole thank you. Okay. This is from Vanessa. It is so exciting that today's webinar is aligned with a book I recently started reading, Coping with Difficult People by Robert M. Bramson. I haven't heard of him. My motivation to read it is because I interact with people on a daily, and I have often struggled with having tough conversations out of fear of hurting their feelings, especially with someone senior. This session has been so insightful, and I appreciate all the speakers for the detailed breakdown of how to approach the topic discussed. Thank you very much, Vanessa. Thank you very much for your remarks, for your addition. Does anyone have a question, a remark, an addition, or a comment? I'm giving you a minute. Speak more to introverts. Jen, would you mind just unmuting and helping us? I haven't understood what you mean by that.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, everyone, to such an insightful conversation. I'm just thinking about the concept of an introvert approaching an uncomfortable conversation, or how will they, maybe you want to talk to your senior who is extroverted or someone who is extroverted. That's already an uncomfortable space for someone who is introverted. How would you approach that? And maybe I think she has dropped off. My fellow introvert will help me address that. Dinner, yes, she can help me. How does she approach that in the workspace, being an introvert, and surrounding you are extroverted?
Okay. Can you before you go, what do you mean by an introvert? Can you define for me what you mean by an introvert?
Being an introvert, I'm someone who, let me speak for myself, someone who avoids conflicts, someone who looks at situations. I'd rather be at the quiet corner, be alone, not interact with people. I will say that in a nutshell.
A nutshell. Okay, Jane, you might be shocked to learn that I am the introvert of introverts. I am extremely introverted, but they call them socially adjusted, as in I had to learn how to adjust socially. But I prefer not to be in the limelight. I prefer if you hear me talking here, but the people who think I can't talk, the people actually think that I don't speak. I think the first thing, Dina will also add, and I think everyone else will chime in. I'm an introvert, so I'm coming from that point. I think the thing that you might want to do is the first step as an introvert is to start having conversations with people. That might be the first thing, because the thing that makes introverts get comfortable is familiarity. That's what helps you to get comfortable with people. If you're not familiar, that's why when we get into a space and it's new to us, we first want to go to the back of the room and observe. We want to observe and say, okay, that one is this, that one is that one is this, and that one is the other. Okay, maybe I would feel comfortable in that particular group. Yeah, so the thing that makes us comfortable is familiarity, and is by having the conversations with the people one-on-one. And introverts, classic introvert, we love having deep conversations with people. We love the one-on-one. So the thing that you would do is, my advice, this is what has worked for me, is having conversations, like having deep conversations with everyone, even with the senior people, even with the extroverted people. Find a way of getting to know them individually, getting to know them deeply. And as an introvert, you don't really know how to have like shallow conversations. Usually you go very, very deep. So be intentional about that, having the conversations with the people. Now, when you have the conversations with the people, when something comes up, then it is easier for you to approach them because you are familiar. They are familiar. Whether they are extroverted, they already know how you talk, you know how they talk, you know how they think. You've studied them because we study people and we understand them. So my advice, or just what has worked for me, being an introvert by the way of introverts, is having the one-on-ones, because once I'm familiar with a person, then it's easier for me to have any conversation with them. Dina? Is Dina there? Vanessa has confirmed that she's an introvert. Let me see. Let me just read that. Oh my God, it's today that I have confirmed that I'm an introvert. Everything Coach Jennifer has described. Yes, yes, yes. Dina?
Wow. I think, Coach Jennifer, you've really summed it up. And just for Jen and everybody else that's introverted, one thing that for me I have personally learned from Coach Jennifer today, and I mentioned it earlier, I think the reason why we find it so hard is because we don't have any conversations at all. Many times, even when you're really like genuinely happy about something, you'll be there with your happy self and then you just, keep it there. So it makes it hard when now you need to shift the conversation. You're wondering, where do I start? So on the flip side, though, there's and this is something I would like to maybe present as a challenge. It might be hard to have the conversation, but when you keep quiet, what happens after that might be worse because you have a build-up of these things, and now it shifts from the issue to the person because you will even stop if, for example, if it's a work colleague, when someone does something and maybe they've not performed to your expectation and you do not have the conversation on that, somehow you'll start to see their errors in everything. And when you continuously don't have the conversation, it builds into like resentment. If you have the authority over them, maybe you'll even escalate the matter to more than what it could be. So for me, one of the things I really, really, really leverage is I first of all work on me. Because for me, when something happens or when someone does something that I did not expect or when something rubs me the wrong way, I don't want to act on it immediately because I'm not so sure. This is the thing about introverts. Because you keep quiet so much, when your words come out, sometimes they might come out like a storm. Yeah. And so you want to collect yourself. I think Jose mentioned this. You want to, first of all, check your own state. Where are you at before you go to this conversation? So for me, even if it's work, I usually find that I need to, first of all, align my feelings about what has happened before I address it. You get? Because if I address it like instantly, maybe my language might be too sharp. I might use words which I might have to maybe apologize for later on. So I have to, first of all, work on myself, make sure I'm in a good place. I prepare myself to have this conversation. However, if it has to be a boundary, yeah, because hard conversations are not just someone is not performing, you want to give them feedback. Sometimes it's just something people are doing, they think you're comfortable with it, and you're not comfortable with it. And you need to express that I'm not fine with that. I don't like that. Sometimes it's even just outrightly like saying something you want. For introverts, it can even be hard to say what you want. Yeah. It's not a bad thing. It's not even an evil thing, but you're finding it so hard to say, I want this or I prefer A, B, C, D. So your state of mind is really important. And then the second thing is clarity. You know, first of all, start with care, but it must end in clarity. Yeah, because we care too deeply. I don't know if that's the case for you, but for me, I have found that it's it's usually hard for me because I care too deeply. Something happens, and for another person, it might be shallow, but I care too deeply about it. So, yes, start with the care, but the conversation must end in clarity. Your message must be put across, and also leverage one on ones. For me, it works for me so much. One on ones, make sure you leverage those. So, because in a crowd, maybe you might be thinking, there's so many different people types that you're having to deal with at the same time. Yeah. But when you go into a one-on-one, you're able to bring your whole self, first of all. Coach Jennifer is usually emphasizing this about self-leadership. Like you've first of all done the work on yourself, and then you'll approach the conversation. So if it's a one-on-one, it might be easier for you to do. However, if you've not been having conversations before, there is work for you to do. You have to start having those conversations. Yeah, that's what I would say about this. Thank you.
Exhaustive. We have something from Frank. It's Frank. Frank says, "Thank you for that session. It's really been insightful. Mine is about putting boundaries between having conversation with your team and also keeping up with the fact that you are not too familiar with your team. That when it's time for a tough conversation, they do not misunderstand it lightly." Thank you, Frank. Can you please explain that, just like in 30 seconds, what it is you mean?
Okay. Thank you, Tim, once again. My question is basically about drawing the line between the normal conversation of I come and it's a normal thing, I greet you, how your weekend was, how the cats are doing and the dogs. And then that at some point as a leader puts you in a space where you get so familiar with your team that it takes away sometimes your power of when you want to point out clarity or put up something across, people misunderstand you from the point of that familiarity that you've had with them. So I just wanted to know when is the right time, or how do you draw the line in between having that respect or maybe that authority that comes with your leadership, alongside also getting to have those normal conversations with your team.
Okay. Okay, I
I
get
don't know
you.
if I've even confused the question more or I've made it easier.
You haven't, Frank. We actually had a whole webinar of this, of how to be approachable and to lead. We had a whole, I think it was it in part one? We had a whole webinar on this. I'm going to give this to Jose. Before Jose answers, we have only 3 minutes left, so I'm just acknowledging that we might go a little bit over time. So if you have to leave, it is all right. I'm just asking you to give us maybe 2 3 minutes over the, like, up to 2 or 5 for us to close. It's like 5 minutes. So Jose.
Thank you. I'll just make it brief so that we keep time. I think it's really about how you two things, how you set boundaries, but also how you model things. I had a leader who was exceptionally down to earth, really down to earth with us, to the fact that you'd be eating, and after you're done eating, he'd be the one to come and take the plates away. But he was my leader. He was really that down to earth. But when it was serious matters, you would see him and know that these are serious matters. When you were presenting something serious, he would be serious. So he would model that for you, that when you are talking something, he also is now that this is okay, serious. So he models it for you that also you know that when you talk about something serious, you also immediately fall in line. So for him, it was important to model what he expected of you. And so you just caught up. When you were talking about something serious, he would pay attention, he would be serious. So that way you would also, so he modeled a lot. But also it's just drawing the boundary, and it's not a hard thing. It's just saying, guys, if I'm having a conversation with someone else, I'll just say, this is now a very serious matter. I want us to have a conversation about this. It has an implication on this and this and this. I want us to have a good conversation, see how to work towards that. And then, so by my words, I will let you know. So diction is very, very key. Diction is very key. It might not even necessarily be, yes, the tone, but tone and diction are really key. Diction is key. It will let you know. Sometimes you need to be direct and say, okay, this is now a serious matter. Not you, but this that we are discussing is a serious thing because it has a bearing on this and this and this. So I'll just ask us to give it utmost attention. Already I have your attention that it is now a serious matter just by the words I have spoken. So diction is really, really important. Modeling and diction are very key.
Awesome. Frank, I hope have you been helped? Okay. I hand over to you, Joseph. You are the one who was, hey, you've done well. You're going to be within time. I hand back to you. I hand over to you, Joseph.
Thank you very much. We usually have closing remarks from everyone, but Dina was right when she spoke already. Her closing remarks saying she might not get to speak again. She was very prophetic, so she gave her closing remarks. But thank you, everyone. Again, we do not take any of you for granted. We can be here, the three of us, and speak to our souls and, learn from each other. But for us, it makes a big difference when there's someone else on the call, and there's someone else on the call, and there's someone else on the call. Because we know behind you are so many other people that will be either positively impacted or negatively impacted by who you are. And so if we can just add a brick in the positive direction in your life, we know that brick is going to be replicated in other people's lives behind you. So we are very, very honored when you are here. So thank you so much. Jane was saying she has set all her Tuesdays, cleared all her Tuesdays to be here and make sure she does not double book. So thank you. And I know that there are very many as well of you who have decided every Tuesday you will be here with us. So thank you so much. We will see you next Tuesday. We'll be discussing something that, is really important to us. But like we said that time, a couple of people did so. Please, some of you have not had the privilege to share with us, but you can do so on your timeline, on LinkedIn. Just share what you learned on your LinkedIn and make sure you tag us so that we can see and comment on that. And that's how we help each other grow. If I comment on your post, the people that are in my circle will see. And so that's how we keep growing in this circle. So please comment, make a post, tag us, and let us know what you learned. Otherwise, we love you. Thank you so much. See you again next Tuesday.